Mike Sullivan. I'm a former IRS agent and teaching instructor. Welcome to my YouTube station. It's the home of the 5-minute or less video. I've worked at IRS for a decade. I've been in private practice for 4 decades. What else can I tell you? I've worked about 10,000 cases. Many of you have come to me because you've seen me on national news, many of them. Many clips are on news. You can go to my website and better yet, look at my whole team of former IRS agents at 777irs.com. Anyway, today, I do these videos for 3 reasons. A, I don't need scripts. I don't wear a suit. I've done this so long. I'm just telling you the truth. I give you insider information from IRS. I educate you so you can make your own decision. And I let you ask questions anytime you want by leaving a comment or whatever that in fact that you need to do to get a hold of me to make sure you understand what I'm saying. Today, I'm going to talk to you about defending what is the trust fund penalty, how do you defend it, and representation. So I used to set the trust fund penalty up, so I want to educate you what it is. If you do not pay your 941s, an IRS revenue officer is going to come in and they are going to simply go ahead and come into a company and they're going to make a determination as to who's liable, who's responsible for the trust fund tax. I probably did this 800, 900 times with IRS. What I do is I used to look at the checks, the corporate resolutions. I had this form filled out, a 4180, found out who canceled, who wrote checks, who made decisions, who hired and fired, who signed all the contracts, and I would find out how many people. It doesn't have to be just one. There could be 3, 4. I had one that had 10. I could throw a broad net out and set up anybody I wanted for the penalty as long as it's reasonable, and the manager would have to sign off based on the determination that I made. And they usually did. An experienced revenue officer knows who's responsible for the tax. So how does IRS come up with that? That's very, very simple. IRS comes up with it because they look at the 941s and they look at the money you held in trust. The money you held in trust was very, very simple. It is the money that you held from withholding and the money you held on Social Security. So IRS is going to claw back or go after, once again, the money you withheld and 1/2 of the Social Security that you withheld on the employee's portion. Generally, if you had a tax liability of $50,000, IRS would probably go ahead and get about, I don't know, $37,000. Once again, they collect the withholding on the 941 and 1/2 of the Social Security. That's the portion, once again, that you withheld. The other half of the Social Security, IRS doesn't collect, and they don't go ahead and collect the penalties and interest. It's a flat amount. What IRS does is IRS then goes ahead and makes an attempt or will go ahead and set you up on the penalty. They will send you out a form 2751 and a form 1153. The 1153 will tell you exactly what the trust fund liability is. Not that it's right or wrong, you can challenge that, and they will send you out a form 1153 unless you have your appeal rights. You need to go ahead and try to appeal that during that time. When you appeal that, you will go ahead and put your facts, your side of the case. If you did not win with the IRS, remember, the revenue officer is going to find out from you that you can challenge that decision. But usually once the revenue officer's made his mind up or her mind up, that's pretty much going to be the way it's going to go. So he's sending out these forms, but you can go ahead and say, no, I want an appeal, and that case goes to the Independent Office of Appeals. Now, the Independent Office may say, yeah, you were responsible for some of this. They may negotiate part of the penalty and say, this is what we want from you. And you can say maybe no. Well, you can go to tax court if in fact that the IRS holds their position. You go to tax court if you want. if this liability has been set up against you and all the time periods have passed, you can file an offer and compromise doubt as to liability to go ahead and say, IRS, I want the case looked at again. Here's the facts. I didn't get my information into IRS on time. Once IRS, in fact, has a legal assessment against you, then IRS will collect that as though you owe personal tax. Now, even though you owe that personal tax, like I said, you can file an offer and compromise doubt as to liability, and you can get that case looked at by, believe it or not, someone else. So you always have someone to turn to and go ahead and try to reopen the case. And there's a lot of little things that you can do, but at the end of the day, you have to put a good solid case together, or IRS is not going to go ahead and accept it. They're tough on trust fund penalties. And remember, multiple people can get set up for the penalty. There can be 3 people in charge or are found liable for this penalty. At the end of the day, if IRS sets 3 people up for, say, $20,000, and it's the same $20,000. If people A pay the $20,000, then people B and C are off the hook. So it's best to wait it out, get a good tax defense, get good representation, and sometime by stalling, it may help your case. Anyway, if this information was good, give me a subscription. If it's too complicated, call me. People don't understand the trust fund penalty, but in fact, that's what it is. Give me a subscription because YouTube wants a subscription. Thank you very much. I hope I added more light than heat. Thank you.